Hey guys, this is Karthik from the Hidden Developer YouTube channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you the Tizen TV development process. So what are the steps you go through as a developer when you develop applications for Tizen TV? So let's go into the steps one by one. So in my previous video we saw a basic theoretical introduction to the Tizen TV development and the Tizen TV platform and all that stuff. That was a basic theory. So again, this presentation is also going to be a little bit of theory that takes the developer through the list of process that he goes through to make his completion, to make his application complete. Okay, so the first and the foremost step is, we need the software for you need to set up the development environment in a local machine for developing applications. Tizen provides SDK that has various tools. When you say SDK, it's a collection of tools in terms of Tizen. So in the SDK you have the Tizen SDK available for all platforms. Like you will get it in Mac, in Linux, Windows, and the SDK installation is pretty straightforward in all the platforms. So our point of focus is on Windows, but there are also for the installation in Linux and Mac OS, the installation steps are pretty straightforward. Only in the case of Linux, I think that there you have to install some dependencies where before going through the installation you have to make sure that certain softwares or certain tools exist in your system to make the installation flow a bit smooth. Okay, so apart from that, in case of Mac and Windows, the installation is pretty straightforward. So I hope you have make sure your system have the minimum requirements like RAM, software. Well, these are things that we can ignore in the case of latest PCs. So make sure that your system is capable of installing the SDK provided by Tizen. And so once your SDK is installed, you can start with the development process, right? So when you say in terms of SDK, you have Tizen Studio, which is the main editor or the IDE, a TV simulator for running the web applications, TV emulator for running native Tizen application, and you have a web inspector where you can debug your application, go through the process, get various insights on code optimization and stuff like that. So that's it with the SDK installation. And second step, once you set up an SDK, then you have to create a certificate profile. So certificate profile is something that you need to create a certificate for yourself, that is for the app that you are going to create. So you have to sign your application once it's completed using the generated certificate, and with this the application has to be uploaded to the App Store. Okay, so you have to keep your certificate someplace safe, because in the future there may be updates to your application, and so that once you upload your updated application, this has to be signed with the same certificate. Otherwise your application will not be detected as an update. Instead it will be detected as a new application. So that will be a problem for your users, right? So creating a certificate profile is the second step in you go through a development process. So in this step, Samsung or the Tizen seller's office make sure that you are the one who is developing the application, you are a verified user. So these are the contents that are inside the application. This is the level of the application once it was created and upload, and nothing has been modified before the application reaches the user. So it provides a basic level of security checkup. So when you create a certificate profile, okay, so the next step being the application design. So in the application design, application design is the phase where your application transforms from the story phase to the completed app phase. So in the story phase, you have various inputs to your app, like you have your idea, you have your thoughts on what are the stuff to integrate, how should your application look like, what are the libraries that you can use, whether you can use native stuff or whether you can use external libraries or APIs. So these are the thoughts that go on when you design your app. So once this is set up, you slowly keep going on, you slowly keep on changing it, right? So like there may be changes, there may be different scenarios that need to be integrated, there may be new application flows that needs to be integrated. So all these process, they will come into your application design phase. So once you think that okay, this is how I can finalize my application, then your application design phase will be stopped. So like for example, in the application design phase, some of the things that you may be thinking about is the UI design of your application, how is the user going to interact with your application, how is your application going to interact with the outside world. So what is the medium of communication, whether it is internet or through some other devices. So how is your application going to look in different screen sizes. So how are you going to design your application so that it looks perfect on screens of all sizes. So whether there are any external components that need to be integrated into your application so that it provides special services in devices like watch or some other mobile devices, etc. So these are the thoughts that goes on in your application design phase. So the next phase will be the application code. Yeah, of course, like once you made sure your application concept is ready, then you start coding your application, right? So the project creation, like the Tizen Studio, that will be the main tool while developing for Tizen TV, right? So this Tizen Studio provides various project wizards. So through these wizards, you can create various types of application, whether it is for TV, whether it is a native application, whether it is a web application, whether it is for a mobile, whether it is for a smartwatch, etc. So the project creation wizard provides various tools, so you can bootstrap your application based on the platform for which you are trying to implement. So our main point of focus will be Tizen web applications. So that is based on HTML web platform, where you'll be using the common web development technologies like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some other external JavaScript utilities. And in the case of UI frameworks, you'll be discussing about CAF. That is the one that is provided by Tizen. So using these technologies, you will be implementing your application logic. So this is the place where your application ideas slowly takes a form, a physical form. Okay, so okay, once your implementation code is complete, then the next step will be obviously testing the application. So for testing your application, you can either test it in the simulator, the emulator, based on the type of application that you are developing, or you can test it directly on the TV. So even though you can test your applications on the simulator and emulator, those functionalities are kind of limited. Well, in the case of simulator, where you cannot test basic TV-like functionalities, in the Tizen TV simulator, you can test your application at a basic web application level. In emulator, certain more TV-like functions are supported, but the entire the final result is what you will not be able to get a final feel of how your application looks like until you test it in a real TV device, right? So Tizen SDK also provides various tools, so to make sure that you test your applications readily on the TV device. One among them being the WITS, which is a technology that enables you to instantly reload your application on the TV without using the simulator or the emulator. Okay, so whatever you do, make sure to test your application in a TV at least once before going to the next step, which is uploading to the store. So once your application is ready, you can give your application to the users, right? So this is the uploading process will take care of that. So what happens here is that, so the once you develop your application, you have to sign it using the certificate that you have created in the step 2. Then once your application is signed, then you have to upload your application to the Samsung the Tizen TV store, where application is reviewed by experts with respect to various scenarios like security, proper code usage, any other application vulnerabilities, or exposing a hacker kind of behaviors. So all of that stuff are checked from top to bottom. And then if your application succeeds their review process, then your application gets uploaded to their store. So if there is any problem that the review team finds out in your application, then they will like send it back to you. Then you have to fix on what all those issues that they have reported. Then you have to do the same process again. So once this review process is complete, your application will be available at the App Store. Then the users, the third-party users, will go on to their TV, go to their smart hub, search for your software, and then it will be installed to their specific TV devices. And the same thing goes on when you post an update for your application also. So like once your application is available on the, that is the way, right? So like starting from what you do, like from a story, you go on to the application design, then you develop the application, then you upload it to the store, then it will be available for the third-party users. So these are the steps that every developer goes through when he or she is developing an application for a Tizen TV platform. So like there are some things that are described in this tutorial where that needs some revisiting. So one among them is the certificate profile, where I'll show you how to create a certificate and how to sign your application with the certificate. The other one being the web platform, which is the technical stuff that is behind the Tizen platform that actually makes it work. That also. And there are several other topics that need to be revisited. We will take a closer look at that in our future video tutorials. So so I hope you got a little bit idea on what are the steps that we go through when we develop our application. So okay, so thanks for watching, and in the next video we will be looking on into how to actually install the SDK in a Windows platform. So till then, stay tuned. Thank you.